Hello guys. So we are moving on to the next topic in internet, that is nose. This is relatively the easiest topic in the entire Adanac region. So if you're just going to have a reading today itself, you can retain the information for longer time because we have only limited facts to remember. So I'll just tell you the protocol under which you will study. Last session when I took about carotid artery, I gave you an idea. So you need to understand what is the origin of an artery, or what is its course, its branches and its termination, right? So similarly for nose, if you take, you understand only one point. It is an osseo-cartilaginous structure. So if you take, you have two terminologies there, osseo-cartilaginous. So you have some skeletal framework as well as cartilaginous framework. So we will be focusing on external nose and we will be talking something on nasal cavity. So when a question is asked in either of these topics, you should have a protocol to present your answer. So first thing, you should talk about the skeletal framework of the concerned part. Then you will talk about the cartilaginous framework. Then it's arterial supply. Then it's nervous supply. And finally, if there is any clinical. So if you take hardly, you have only 5 headings under which you're supposed to present an answer. So I have divided this into 2 sessions. The first session will be covering about external nose and medial wall of nasal cavity, and in the next session we'll be talking about lateral wall of nasal cavity. Both are potential short notes and these both can be combined to be asked as an essay. So this is an important essay, had been asked four times in the university exam. So just remember the fact you should cover under 5 side headings. It's an osseo-cartilaginous, so you should talk about its skeletal framework, you should talk about its cartilaginous framework, you should talk about its blood supply, you should talk about its nerve supply, and if there is any clinical, you should talk about its clinicals. That's it. So we'll get started with the external nose. So first thing, since we are talking about an external anatomical structure, you should be familiar with the features of the external nose. Like if you remember my tongue session, we spoke on the external features. We had root, we had body, and we had tip. Similarly, if you take, you should know the external features of the nose. Just try to correlate with tongue. So if you take, you have a tip, you have root, and you are going to have in between root and tip, like how we had body in the tongue. Here you have something called dorsum of nose. And you have 2 nostrils, one on either side, and you have something called columella. Okay, so you have root, dorsum, tip, 2 nostrils, and columella. We'll be studying about that. So you should know about each of these. Okay, so if you take root of the nose, it is also called as bridge of the nose. Just place your finger again. So just take, you have your region where you keep your face mark or bindi, right? So just below that, if you feel, you'll be able to palpate against an arch structure. That is your bridge of the root of the nose. So what are the points you will include under root of the nose? If you take, it is also called as bridge of the nose. It is made up of bones and it is continuous with the forehead. So if you take, this is your forehead, this is your root of the nose. So this is going to be continuous with the forehead. So it is a bony structure. It is also called bridge of the nose and it is continuous with the forehead. These 3 points will include under root of the nose. And tip, like your tongue, we define it as free anterior end. Similarly, tip, you will define it as a free anterior end. Next, the dorsum, the region between the root of the nose and the tip of the nose is called as its dorsum. Then you have 2 nostrils, one on either side. This is referred to as a pyriform canal. So you have a root, dorsum, tip, and then your nostril. So this is what you must know about your external features of external nose. So if you take the interior aspect, so what is actually making this external nose? I told you it's an osseo-cartilaginous structure. So you should know about the skeletal framework and you should know about its cartilaginous framework, right? So this picture is going to explain us what is the skeletal framework of external nose and what is the cartilaginous framework of the external nose. So if you take, this is your skeletal framework and this is your cartilaginous framework. So from this you can understand your external nose in majority contains your cartilaginous framework, but minimally contains your skeletal framework. You should be very appropriate right here. So what you will write under the skeletal and the cartilaginous framework, the first point is the upper 1/3 of your external nose is a skeletal framework, and your lower 2/3 of the external nose is your cartilaginous framework. So upper 1/3 is skeletal, lower 2/3 is going to be cartilaginous. So we'll talk about all that now. So first we will move on with your upper 1/3, that is your skeletal framework. If you remember, I told you this thing, root or the bridge of the nose, right? So we spoke, it is made up of a bony structure. So if you take the bone that forms your root is nothing but your nasal bone. So your nasal bone is going to form the bridge of the nose. So you should elaborate in 1 or 2 lines. How will you elaborate this? If you take, this is one nasal bone and this is one other nasal bone. So you can able to appreciate a midline structure, right? So what happens here is the nasal bone present on both the sides or the either sides, they fuse along the midline. So if you take this one nasal bone, this is one nasal bone, they both fuse along the midline. And if you take, this is marked as your nasal process of frontal bone, and they get attached to your nasal process of frontal bone, or it is going to be continuous with the nasal process of frontal bone. What you must write, the first point, your bridge of the nose is formed mainly by fusion of nasal bones at the midline, which is continuous with your nasal process of frontal bone. This is the first point. I'll repeat for the last time. Your bridge of the nose is formed by nasal bones, one on either side, they fuse along the midline, and it is continuous or gets attached with your nasal process of frontal bone. Now if you take, what is the other skeletal framework? You have something called frontal process of maxilla. So this is going to rest on your frontal process of maxilla. So if you take, this is your nasal bone, so this is going to rest on the frontal process of maxilla, and it is at the same time, it is continuous with your nasal process of frontal bone. So when you remember, or what you should recollect from the skeletal framework of external noses, nasal bone, nasal process of frontal bone, which together rest on your frontal process of maxilla. That's it. This is your skeletal framework. If you are going to include these points, it is more than enough. Now we are coming on to your cartilaginous part. So if you take, it appears big, and I told you it almost contributes to your lower 2/3 of your external nose, right? So if you take, the first point you will write is, your cartilaginous part of external nose is made up of 5 cartilages. What are the 5 cartilages? Is 2 lateral cartilages. So this is one lateral cartilage. This is one other lateral cartilage. So it is made up of 2 lateral cartilage, one on each side. And in between you have your septal cartilage. And again in the lower part you have 2 cartilages, one on either side, called as alar cartilage. That is your major alar cartilage. So 5 cartilages, 2 lateral cartilages, 2 major alar cartilages, and 1 median septal cartilages. So these are the 5 cartilages that make up your external nose. So we have covered your skeletal framework and your cartilaginous framework. External nose, we do not have as such blood supply and all. So external nose, if it is asked, mostly this is not an university theoretical question, it is very rare, but practical they can definitely ask. So what you should explain is external features, whatever we have discussed, your root, tip, dorsum, and then you will talk about its osteocartilaginous portion, nasal bone fusion along midline, nasal process of frontal bone, frontal process of maxilla, 2 lateral cartilages, 1 median cartilage, and then major alar cartilage. If you remember, here we have something called glomerula. I'll explain you what is glomerula from this picture. So if you take, we saw your lower part of your nose, if you take, we have major alar cartilage. If you take major alar cartilage, you have something called crus, or you can say part, okay. So the part of alar cartilage which lies laterally, so this portion is your lateral crus of major alar cartilage. So whichever is going to lie laterally is called as your lateral crus of your major alar cartilage. And this portion is called as your medial crus of major alar cartilage. So the part of major alar cartilage which lies medially is called as medial crus of major alar cartilage. And the part of major alar cartilage which lies laterally is called as your lateral crus of major alar cartilage. So if you take, this is your lateral part and this is your medial part. Henceforth, this is called as your medial crus. This is called as your lateral crus. Why are we stressing on this medial and lateral crusses? If you take the two medial crus of major alar cartilage, just observe this point. The two medial crus of major alar cartilage, if you take, they are coming downwards and they are almost approximating each other here, right? So the approximation of the two medial crus of major alar cartilage at the lower border of nasal septum is called as your glomula. You will understand with this picture. So if you take, this is your septal cartilage. So this, how this picture is drawn is, just lift your head up and some person is looking into your nasal cavity. Okay, so first structure is, that is going to observe the nasal cavity via your nostrils. Okay, so this is an upward view. So this is your nostril and he is viewing the nasal cavity. Okay. So if you take, this is your alar cartilage, so this is your major alar cartilages, this is your lateral crus and this is your medial crus. So if you take, this is your septal cartilage, right? So this fusion of your medial crus at the lower border of nasal septum is called as glomula. So if you take, it is somewhat given here. If you see this picture, so that is what. So if you are going to just palpate your nose above your lip, what structure you are going to observe is your glomula. So what is glomula? The approximation of medial crus of major alar cartilages from both sides is called as glomula. Okay, so we have seen the bones, we have seen the cartilages, and we have seen about glomula also. So with this, your external nose is done. Okay, you just have to have an orientation. That's why we just went into your external nose. Now we are moving on to important aspect, that is your nasal cavity. So if you take, here we saw external nose, we have two nostrils and all, and we saw septal cartilage, right? So your entire nose, if you take, it is divided into two nasal cavities by a septum, okay, or a septal. So septum in turn, it contains your septal cartilage, okay. So your nasal septum is going to divide your entire nasal cavity into two. One on the either side. So you have two nasal cavities on either side. Okay, so this is the first thing that you must know. So medially, if you take the structure that is present as your nasal septum. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, so the nasal cavity, first thing what you must write, your nose interiorly, it has been divided into two separate nasal cavities by means of a nasal septum. Okay, so if you take the boundaries, you will have a roof, you will have a floor. So here you will have the median wall. So always remember in the lateral wall, in the next session, I'll be showing the cadaveric picture. So always when your nasal septum is going to be reflected only, your structures in the lateral wall can be viewed. Okay, so just understand, in every picture, your nasal septum is going to be reflected. So it is just going to act like a door. Okay, so you will have a door here, that is a nasal septum that had been reflected. So what I am pointing here is going to be a lateral wall. So you have a roof, you have a floor, you have a medial wall, you have a lateral wall. If you want me to explain through this picture, roof, floor, medial wall, and this is your lateral wall. That's it. Okay, these are the boundaries for your university. Medial wall and lateral wall are very, very important questions. So one thing we will just try to understand. So if you take, this is your nasal cavity. So your nasal cavity, it communicates externally to your atmosphere with your nostrils. So your external atmosphere air is going to enter to your respiratory tract from your nostrils via your nasal cavity. Okay, that is, we all know, right? So externally it is going to communicate with your nostril, and to your nasopharynx it communicates via a structure called choana. So choana helps in communication of nasal cavity with nasopharynx. Your nostril helps in communication of your nasal cavity with your external atmosphere or your environment. That's it. So I'll get started with the medial wall, which is an important question. So if you take, this is your medial wall. Okay, so if we are going to open this green color one, we will be appreciating your lateral wall. Okay, so this is your roof, this is your floor, and green is your medial wall. If you are going to reflect, we will have the lateral wall. Okay, so we'll be focusing only on medial wall. So always remember my protocol: osteo framework, cartilaginous framework, arterial supply, and then your nerve supply, and if there is any clinical associated. Okay, so first thing, let us talk about your osteo part. Okay, so if you take your osteo part is going to be your posterior. So the posterior aspect of your medial wall is going to be formed by your osteogenous portion. That is, your posterior part of the medial wall is done by your bony framework, whereas your anterior part is done by your cartilaginous. Okay, so if you take, this is your posterior aspect, this is your anterior aspect. Okay, so if you take your posterior aspect, you will have two frameworks: perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone and some bone called as vomer. Okay, so again, if you would have done your skull, you all will know this structure. So this vomer will appear as a projection along a midline. That is your vomer. Okay, so if you take your medial wall, your skeletal framework is done by your two bones: your perpendicular plate of your ethmoid bone, which is your postero-superior, which means your posterior part of medial wall, and the superior aspect is formed by your perpendicular plate of ethmoid. Always remember, your ethmoid bone will be on the superior aspect. Okay, and you know the understanding that your medial wall is posteriorly is covered by your bones. Okay, so your postero-superior part is by your perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone, and postero-inferiorly it is by a bone called as vomer. So this is your osteogenous part. Now if you take the cartilaginous part, I told you it is going to cover your anterior aspect. So you have your septal cartilage and septal process of major alar cartilage. So the portion of alar cartilage is in relation with your septal cartilage, is your septal process of major alar cartilage. So anteriorly is your cartilaginous part, where we have septal cartilage and septal process of major alar cartilage, and posteriorly we have perpendicular plate of ethmoid and vomer bone. So this is your osteocartilaginous part of your medial wall. Now what is the clinical correlation? We told your medial wall is formed by your nasal septum. That's the first point I told you, if you remember here also, right? This green color is your nasal septum. So usually if you take this nasal septum is not going to be exactly along the midline. Okay, in most of the patients, it is going to be slightly towards the right. It is slightly towards the right. Okay, but in some cases, okay, it can be a development anomaly, or it could have occurred due to some accidents or trauma. The nasal septum is going to deviate completely towards one side. So if you take, it has completely gone towards your right side. So your right side nasal cavity is almost obstructed, and your left side you have enormous space. Right? So such condition is called as deviated nasal septum. When the nasal septum, which forms the medial wall of nasal cavity, is almost moving towards one side, mostly towards the right, that is called as a deviated nasal septum. So usually patients who will generally complain of excessive snoring during sleep time, they will have some breathing difficulties. So when patient complains with breathing difficulties and excessive snoring during night time, we can suspect of deviated nasal septum. So your nasal septum is said to be aligned along the midline, but in most of the people, it is slightly away from the midline towards the right. But in case of a deviated nasal septum, which can be acquired as a developmental anomaly or during trauma, it is being deviated to one extreme side, thereby causing obstruction in breathing and excessive snoring, etc. This is called as deviated nasal septum. So this is one clinical issue you should know about medial wall. I hope I am clear. Now, moving on to arterial supply. So we have seen the osteochondrosis part. Now moving on to arterial supply. Very simple. We'll try to make. So we saw your postero-superior, postero-inferior, all that, right? So if you take, this is your posterior part and this is your anterior part. So this is your posterior, this is your anterior. Okay, so if you take your posterior part, you have something called as sphenopalatine artery. So this is your sphenopalatine artery and this is your posterior ethmoidal artery. If you remember sphenopalatine artery in my carotid artery, maxillary artery part, I told you the sphenopalatine artery, it is the terminal branch of your maxillary artery. Okay, so that sphenopalatine artery is going to be the blood supply for your medial wall of nasal cavity. So from your posterior aspect, you have two arteries, sphenopalatine artery and posterior ethmoidal artery. Always remember, I have told you when you mention the name of an artery, you should write it is a branch of what. So just take down it as a note. So arterial supply, the first artery, sphenopalatine artery, branch of maxillary artery. Sphenopalatine artery, branch of maxillary artery. And next is your posterior ethmoidal artery, branch of ophthalmic artery. Next, greater palatine artery. Again, if you remember, this is again a branch of maxillary artery. Okay. Third artery, greater palatine artery, branch of maxillary artery. Then, this thing, anterior ethmoidal artery. This again is a branch of ophthalmic artery. And finally, you have superior labial branch, is again a branch of facial artery. So almost if you attend the last lecture on carotid artery, facial artery, you will know this. Okay, so always remember, that's why I told you in carotid artery, I told you your vessels, you should have a bird's view so that you will be able to correlate how it is coming from where it is coming. Okay. So again, I'll repeat. So and one thing you add must, since it is supplying the septum, just write septal branch everywhere. Septal branch of sphenopalatine artery, septal branch of posterior ethmoidal artery, septal branch of anterior. So everywhere in prefix you just add septal branch. Okay. So if you take here, there is one area called Little's area. This is very, 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 very important. You will have an OSPE chart, Viva question. This is a potential MCQ now. Okay, if you observe this, it will be so MCQ can be which of the following arteries does not form Little's area or does not contribute to Little's area. Almost I have found in 1 or 2 MCQ modules. That is very, very important. So this is an important MCQ part. So if you take Little's area, it is formed by all the vessels supplying the medial wall except posterior ethmoidal artery. Okay, if you take posterior ethmoidal artery, is going to be septal branch is going to be very short, so it is not going to contribute for a Little's area. Okay, so apart from that, your septal branch of sphenopalatine artery, your septal branch of anterior ethmoidal, your septal branch of greater palatine, your septal branch of superior facial labial branch of facial artery, everything contributes to Little's area except your posterior ethmoidal artery. Very, very, very important point. And the second important point, its location. It is located in antero-inferior part of nasal septum. So here if you take, you will have an area called vestibule. Okay, so just distance of finger prick distance only. So you will have a structure called vestibule here. Okay, so almost above your vestibule, you are going to have Little's area. So it is located in the antero-inferior part of your nasal septum, close to vestibule. What is its clinical correlation is? And if you take the clinical correlation, nose bleeding, also called epistaxis. Okay, so this Little's area, we saw you have joining of 4 arteries at a particular area in the antero-inferior part of nasal septum, just above your vestibule, and that is called as Kisselbach's plexus. So a Kisselbach's plexus is formed by septal branches of sphenopalatine, greater palatine, anterior ethmoidal, and then your superior labial branch of facial artery. So I told you this area is just going to be at a finger prick distance. Okay, So if the patient, either a child or an old man, everybody has this habit of pricking, right? So if he has nails and if it is just going to go and just tear or affect your nasal septum, it can come with bleeding. Okay, so if a patient comes with nasal bleeding without any history of major trauma or something, I mean major accident or something, you can suspect this nasal bleeding is because of your nose pricking. Okay, so for that you can't go and ask a 50-year-old man, did you prick your nose? But you just understand if he is not complaining of any major cause for his bleeding, then it is most probably because of nose pricking. Okay, so very important aspect. So in OSPE chart, you will be given this diagram and he can ask you questions. Okay, so just remember this diagram, very important. And this phenomenon of nose bleeding is called as epistaxis due to formation of Kisselbach's plexus. Okay. Now, last one is your nerve supply. Again, it's a very good picture. So you should draw the pictures, your nasal cavity. If it is asked, if you are just going to draw the pictures and label the parts, you'll get full marks. So if you take again postero-superior part, postero-inferior part, antero-superior part, antero-inferior part. So if you take your postero-superior or the posterior aspect of your medial wall, it is supplied from the branches arising from pterygopalatine ganglion. If you remember middle ear, close to your journey of facial nerve, we'd have seen a ganglion called pterygopalatine ganglion. Okay, so it is arising from branches of pterygopalatine ganglion. So if you take in the postero-superior part, you have medial, posterior, superior nasal branches of pterygopalatine ganglion. Seems to be a very big name, but see, it is very simple, medial. Okay, so the structure is going to be medially located. And I told you posterior aspect, so posterior. It is coming from the superior aspect, so superior. To which structure? Nasal cavity, so nasal. So medial, superior, posterior, nasal branches of pterygopalatine ganglion. And if you take a postero-inferior part, nasopalatine nerve from pterygopalatine ganglion. So this is your palate, okay? So nasopalatine nerve from your pterygopalatine ganglion. So it is going to cover your nasal aspect as well as your palatine. So name nasopalatine and medial, posterior, superior nasal branch of pterygopalatine ganglion. And if you take this side, antero-superior is by anterior ethmoidal. If you remember, here we saw anterior ethmoidal artery, right? Similarly, you have anterior ethmoidal nerve. Again, it is going to be branch of your this thing, nasociliary nerve. Okay, so the internal nasal branch. There in artery, I told you septal branch, right? Similarly, here the internal nasal branch of anterior ethmoidal nerve, which in turn is a branch from a nasociliary nerve. Internal nasal branch of anterior ethmoidal nerve, which in turn is a branch of your nasociliary nerve. And here if you take antero-inferior part, your anterior superior alveolar nerve, which is a branch of maxillary nerve. So we have completed everything. Okay, we'll just have a quick revision. So medial wall is important. So I'll just give a quick revision of medial wall alone. Medial wall, we saw it is formed by your nasal septum. So we saw what were its bony part, what were its cartilaginous parts. So if you take bony part, we had two things: perpendicular plate of ethmoid bone and then your vomer. And anteriorly we saw it is formed by your cartilages. So we had two cartilages, your septal cartilage and the septal process of major alar cartilage. And then the clinical correlation we saw about the deviated nasal septum. So normally it is slightly towards the right, but due to some development anomaly or due to any trauma, the nasal septum can be divided to one complete side. So there's going to be the breathing difficulty and even excessive snoring. And we saw the arterial supply is very important. We have Little's area, Kisselbach's plexus. So this Little's area is formed by all of the vessels except your posterior ethmoidal artery, and clinical correlation epistaxis, which is most commonly because of finger pricking. It is located in the antero-inferior part of a nasal septum, just above your vestibule. And then this is your nerve supply. So anterior internal nasal branch, anterior superior alveolar nerve, and these are the branches. So if you see here, we saw this limited information. If you're going to include this alone, it is more than enough for your exams. If you're just going to go and open the textbook once and study, it is going to be there for your long term. Okay, so in the next session, we'll be talking about the lateral walls. Again, a very, very important question we'll be discussing. Thank you.